You're watching Oilers Nation Everyday with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
Your own personal Jesus.
Oilers in 4, Bobby. Oilers in 4. Let's get into it with the lead. Honestly, Oilers in 3, if at all possible, after watching that video. And also, it's never been a worse day to be a podcast listener on this show, because you got to go watch that open. Bobby Stauffer.
I'm sure everyone's seen it already.
Yeah, there's no way. You're living under a rock if you haven't seen the Bob Stauffer video by now. Welcome into Oilers Nation Everyday. We are live from the Sports Closet studio. From jerseys to hats to the legendary foam finger, you'll find it all and more at the Sports Closet. The show is also a presentation of Bet365. Download the app. Use the code NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. And one more for you, because this show today is live from the Sherwood Ford Giant Showroom. Look at this truck.
Look at it. There it is.
What is that? A Lariat? Ford Ranger? Motherfucking Ford Ranger. It's
Look
beautiful.
at all those chickens.
We're live from Sherwood Ford the Giant. Why? Because the truck had to come in to get fixed. I used Nation Valet Service to send it here, and then I said, whoa. Don't bother driving it back to me, boys. I'll swing by the dealership.
Yeah.
Anyway, shout out to our friends at Sherwood Ford the Giant, where I was told today they are almost out of the Oilers Nation air fresheners, car fresheners that we've been given with Nation Valet, which means a bunch of you have been using the Nation Valet service. So if you've used it, go on the YouTube chat and say, I used it. The service is incredible, because it really is. All right, Sherwood Ford Giant game day. We're going to have our boy Steve Peters. Oh, also with the Ford Maverick behind us. Hand up. That's on me.
There's something else we need to address.
Okay.
Because people keep saying it in the chat, we need to get Bob on the show. And I know how difficult of a task that is. But I think we have to make it a goal this summer to try our damnedest to sneak something in. We'll get he doesn't need to know. We can go for lunch with him, like you know him. I don't. I see him. We always make awkward eye contact because he clearly knows who I am, and I certainly know who he is.
Yep.
I say we just go out. Like we'll take him to Greta. And we'll just set up cameras. It'll be like Undercover Boss.
But it's just an undercover staff interview?
Yeah, and we'll just interview him. Like, we won't anything too crazy. We'll cut. But like the standard stuff, we'll get on the show. Text him this.
Someone will probably relay the message. They usually do.
Yeah, let Bob know.
Yeah, let Bob know that we're interested in having him on the show. Again, we'll do the old tap the sign. Oilers will never let their employees on our program.
But we'll try our best.
But we'll do our best. Yeah, Wise Gal, Bob Sport OEG. Matthew, is Jay inside the truck behind you, Tyler and Liam?
I believe so.
No, Jay's in Toronto on what they call big business. So Jay is not available for the show today. But back by popular demand is our friend Steve Peters, who's going to join the show in about 15 minutes' time. He texted me and said he's firing up his computer. He's getting ready to go.
Good. How long does it take his computer to get ready?
I don't know.
Do you remember back in the day where you had to like turn on your computer and you could just like walk away for 5 minutes as it loaded up?
Had time to go get a coffee. Those are the days back when we were 7 and 8 years old, Liam. Someone says I'd be interested in Gene Principe too. We could probably get Gino. Yeah,
we could try and get Gene. I mean, we broke the barrier with Louis.
Yeah.
I feel like we're in a little bit.
Broke the seal.
Broke the seal. We'll make our way down there and try and get a couple of guys. Jack could be a good one. I don't really know which side of the pond he falls on.
I think he's a Sportsnet guy. We might be able to get Jack. Honestly, we could probably just ask Louis. Louis would vouch for us.
Yeah, we can just ask all of them and let them just say no.
Mulek, interview him for DFO, then play the full clip here.
Great idea.
That's actually not even a terrible idea. This is for, hey, OEG, this is for our new show, Daily Face-Off Every Day with Tyler and Liam.
Available next season, starting September, by the way.
Yeah. Welcome into all right, Sherwood Ford Giant game day of the show. Let's get this thing back on the rails, Liam, because today is a chance for the Edmonton Oilers to go up 1-0 on the Vegas Golden Knights and wrestle back home ice advantage in this series. Or maybe a better way to say it would be to come out and punch home ice advantage away from the Vegas Golden Knights. So let's just kick off the show with some game notes. It's brought to you by Garage Superstore. Garage upgrades and accessories made easy. They've got everything you need to organize, transform, and maximize your space, including a showroom that has 6 full-size garages. You can walk through real setups. Now that's something. Polyaspartic floor coatings, rubber paving. Probably should have practiced that word. Vehicle hoist, storage racks. I know how to say those two. They do it all at Garage Superstore. Check them out online, garagesuperstore.ca, or find them in person, 3407 Calgary Trail Northwest in South Edmonton. Some game notes for tonight. The Oilers and Golden Knights split their season series this year, 2-2, each team winning both their games in regulation. So we did not get OT between these two sides. Edmonton's 2 wins, a 1-0 victory and a 3-2 win. That 3-2 win coming when they didn't have Connor McDavid. Remember, that was the nation vacation out in Vegas. So Edmonton won a couple of really interesting games against the Vegas Golden Knights.
Edmonton won 6-3.
Oh, what was the? Oh, they lost 1-0.
They lost
Sorry.
1-0.
They won 6-3. Then they won the 3-2 game without Connor McDavid. They lost 1-0 and also lost 4-2 back in November. But Edmonton on a 2-game winning streak, you could say, against the Vegas Golden Knights. And yeah, I mean, they tend to actually play like. I don't want to say they play well in Vegas because it's not like their record over the last 3 years at T-Mobile is like amazing or outstanding. No. But it's not like a house of horrors by any means. It's not like a building they struggle in.
I believe it's 500.
Yeah.
I believe it was either at least included in the last game or going into the last game. They were 6-6 in the regular season. But even when they went to Vegas a couple of years ago for that playoffs, they won a game there at least.
They stole game 2?
Team 2, right?
And game 1, I mean, Draisaitl 4 goals. It was an unbelievable game, yeah.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I'm not too worried about going down to T-Mobile. I do think it's a good place to play hockey. I think those fans are good, and obviously the fan base is growing. But I almost feel like it's going to sound a bit weird, like it's less intimidating than it would come across. I think a place like Vancouver are much harder to go and play in than what T-Mobile would be, and it's not to disrespect what Vegas has done there. Obviously, they're a great team, but yeah, I have all the confidence in the world. The Oilers can go down there and win a game, maybe 2 games.
My phone was just ringing there.
That spooked me.
Someone from Switzerland calling me that.
Yeah. Could it be?
Could it be Tyler Ennis? I don't know.
Or Gaetan?
Oh, Haas. Gaetan Haas has a little bit of intel on how to beat the Golden Knights. Ryan S. said, why no McDavid? No, McDavid is playing. Yeah. I'm just saying the last time the Oilers played the Golden Knights in early April, they did not have him.
The one thing about the 4 games, Aaron, if you can throw it up again, is just how different they all are.
Yeah.
And I think the Oilers, you could make a great argument that they should have won all 4 of them. Like, you think of that 4-2 game. The Oilers are up 2-1 at least in the third period.
Yeah.
And then Vegas kind of stormed back, and Edmonton, I wouldn't even say they stormed back. I think Edmonton blew that one. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, Ekholm and Bouchard made their own one, and whoever it was on the other. 1-0. They had basically 10 shots, and they just played defense the rest of the game. The Oilers should have probably scored a goal that game. 6-3, great win. 3-2 without McDavid, like you said. So I think when you look through the results, the Oilers, I know it says 2-2, but the Oilers have done really well against the Golden Knights this season overall. So I think it's going to be a good series. I think people are remembering Vegas in a different light, I think. This isn't your Vegas Golden Knights from 2 years ago when they beat the Oilers in 6. It's this year's Vegas Golden Knights, and I think they're still a good team, but I think Edmonton is much improved than they were a few years ago as well.
Yeah, we'll get to a full lineup report in a little bit, but I saw someone in the chat giving false information, which we don't stand for on this show.
No, everything said on the show is fact.
Yes. Chris Knobloch confirming Calvin Pickard gets the start tonight. The only 4-0 goalie in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So Pickard will have a chance to extend his winning streak to 5 games. The Oilers looking to extend their winning streak to 5 games. Liam, that 4-game run against LA, that was the Oilers' first 4-game winning streak since mid-January this season.
Damn.
That's a fact.
That is a fact.
That is a fact.
I think after that was when everything, obviously the 4 nations, after it's hard to remember most of the season, to be honest, because of that big break. But post 4 nations, everything just kind of fell apart for the Oilers in the sense of they weren't winning as many games as they should, and so many players were injured all the time. Didn't have their lineup. And I think it's very surprising, the conversation around the goaltending, in the sense of if Skinner had won 4 games, you wouldn't consider putting Pickard in there.
No.
It doesn't matter.
And this doesn't mean that at some point Skinner's not going to get the net back or whatever, but I just think Calvin Pickard, with what he did against LA, it's not like he came in and just won the last game or even just won the last 2 games and played average. Like, he won the last 4. You got to keep going to that guy.
And I'll put my hand over these 4 stats here on my computer.
Okay.
And one says 4-0, the other one says 2-0.
0-2, you mean?
0-2. Damn it.
Damn.
God,
we were on a good run there.
So well.
Yeah.
I just gave off a non-fact.
Show's over.
A lie.
All right. Before we get to Steve Peters, he's coming up in about 10 minutes' time. I want to do a very, very quick edition of our hit segment, What's Trending. It's brought to you by Douglas Mattress. I sleep like a baby every night on my Douglas, and you can too. And it won't even cost you that much. Great value starting at just $599. A locally owned and operated Edmonton company, and their Edmonton store is open now in the Manchester Square, so you can head down in person, try out a mattress for yourself, or order one online, douglas.ca/nation. They do offer free shipping across Canada, and they have an industry-leading 365-night trial to make sure you love it. Free return if not, and if you don't love the mattress, they actually take it and donate it to local charities as well. So it's not like it goes to waste. It's not like it goes and sits in a landfill. Even if you don't love it, it'll go to a good cause. What's trending? You saw the Bob video off the jump. The Gene Principe haircut. I mean, Jesus Christ. You think the Oilers are losing this series? Look at this man. He's beautiful.
The media in this city,
they're taking it upon themselves.
Arguably more popular than the players.
I mean, between Bob and Gene, yes.
Everyone loves Jack and Louie, and then Bob and Gene, just the main characters.
Like the second selfie with the haircut, he's serving.
I don't know what look that is, but I'm feeling pretty good looking at it. So yeah, it's a great haircut. Where was he in the? Oh no, that is a salon. I thought a bit of a library, but yeah, great cut by Gene. I'm surprised he did it when he did it though.
No, before a series is the time to do it.
Maybe before the playoffs.
No.
I don't know. I don't like it though. It's a good haircut. I'm not getting a haircut to the end of the playoffs.
That's fair. What else is trending? The NHL's draft lottery was last night. I loved the presentation of it. I know some people were getting on it saying it was like long and drawn out or whatever, but I thought it was actually pretty suspenseful. I liked the fact that there was the transparency element of like you knew exactly what numbers every team needed by the end of it, and you can't argue the results. This is one of the most stunning draft lotteries I think we've ever had. I didn't do any research into that, so it's an opinion, not a stat or a fact. But the Islanders and Utah both moving up 10 spots to get into the top 5 is bananas.
So can you explain the Utah one for me?
So they do 3 draws. There's a lottery for the first pick, there's a lottery for the second pick, and there's a lottery for the third pick. You can only move up a maximum of 10 spots. So the Islanders won the first lottery. They move up from 10 to 1. The second lottery, I believe San Jose won it. And then the third lottery, Utah won it, going from 14 to 4.
Gotcha. Exciting.
Very exciting.
It's cool that this happened, and I like that it happened too, because I don't think this draft is very exciting. There's obviously good players, but like the fact that like Lou Lamoriello's final gift to the New York Islanders was getting in the first overall pick. And hey, that guy took a lot of criticism, and rightfully so in some departments, but to end the season to get Kyle Ritchie and then also end up helping them get the first overall pick, it's a nice little parting gift on what is likely his last job in the NHL. As a general manager.
You're writing off Lou Lamoriello at your own peril there, big guy.
He is
if he hears that you're saying this,
probably not good for me. But yeah, I think it's really cool. I'm glad someone like Boston didn't win or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Again, add some intrigue, because I do think as much as we never, ever see trades in the top 5, or we rarely ever see it, there is a little bit of like, oh man, if you're Utah, do you maybe look at cashing in on this? If you're the Islanders, are you playing with house money a bit? And do you sit there and go, you know what, we'd love any one of those first 5. We're open to moving down 1 or 2 slots. So this is Stephen Ellis's mock draft. He has Schaefer going 1, Misa going 2 to the Sharks, Porter Martone going 3 to the Hawks. Utah gets Hagens at 4, and Nashville gets Frondell at 5. I actually think Schaefer would be a better fit in Utah, and there's a case for James Hagens, born on Long Island, to be an Islander. Maybe there's a trade there. Ooh, little flip.
Maybe. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. So did you see the rumors today of Porter Martone?
No. Oh, he's going to Penn State
for $250,000.
A cool $250,000, as they say.
That'll help any 18-year-old. He's a great player, obviously.
What would you have done at 18 with $250,000?
Oh, the good stuff.
And on that note, we move on.
Sorry, can you pull up the draft again and just see the mock? Michael Meese second is fun. Great goal scorer. Him next to Celebrini Will Smith is really cool. That's a good forward group we've got going there.
Although, again, them getting Schaefer to round out that core, and you have like Schaefer, check, Dickinson, who is a great blue liner, check, the two forwards, and then Askarov, it'd be like, man, the Sharks would start to look scary.
So Anton Frundell, he was playing in Camrose earlier this season.
The World Junior
World
Challenge.
Junior Challenge. Sweden brought their team over and just beat the wheels off everyone, shockingly, and just brought their entire essentially next season's World Junior team, or the one after, whatever it was. Like the team that just went to the U18s was there. So yeah, Anton Frundell, if anyone was down in Camrose earlier in the year, I think it was January, he played and he was a beast because he's going to go top 5
overall. Yeah. Quickly here again, couple minutes, and then we'll get to Steve Peters. Last night, Leafs-Panthers. Leafs get off to a flying start. William Nylander, for as much shit as Marner and Matthews and the core four kind of get, William Nylander actually kind of delivers, and he was great last night. Scores 2 goals early on. Also had 2 goals in the elimination game, Game 6 against the Ottawa Senators. He looked great. The Leafs actually kept up with the Panthers right up until I felt about the third period, and the Panthers kind of turned on the Jets a little bit. But the big story everyone's obviously talking about is Anthony Stolarz. He takes the one puck off the head, and then right after, in short order, gets a forearm shiver from Sam Bennett, which, I mean, if you're sitting here saying this is a hockey player, it's not on purpose, you're full of shit, or you don't know what you're talking about. Like, Sam Bennett, absolutely, you see the elbow pop out. Like, it is a very, very dirty play. The fact that officials don't protect goalies better than this, and we can go back to what the Oilers and Kings series, right?
Totally.
Like, Arvidsson got that goalie interference penalty.
And rightfully so. Like,
again, call that stuff. But then we saw down at the other end, Calvin Pickard gets absolutely smoked, but because it's late in the game, they don't want to call it. And it's like, I feel like goalies need to be better protected. The scary part in all of this is, one, we are not doctors.
No.
This is speculative, but like, he took 2 shots to the head in quick succession. The idea of him sustaining 2 brain injuries in a matter of minutes, not hours, is scary. And then he goes to the bench and he's vomiting into a bucket on the bench, which I read some of those threads on Twitters from different people. And it's like, man, that is very, very scary when you're at the 100%. Point of vomiting from a head injury.
And so soon after they occur as well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't think I've ever had I've had one, but nothing obviously to that extent too. And you look back at the Ekblad thing, it's obviously like a bit of a different situation, obviously, because it's a player on player, not a goalie on player. But like, the intent of Ekblad was to clearly extend his elbow into Brandon Hagel. And I think it's very similar here. It's not like Bennett's coming across and then all of a sudden his arm is just tucked in, coincidentally hit Stolarz. That would just be something. But it's also a player that we've seen do this a lot. And I like Sam Bennett and what he can bring to a team.
But there's also no question that he does this kind of shit a lot.
100%. Like Matthew Knives, I believe got a concussion from him earlier
last year.
Was it last year?
Yeah.
Brad Marchand also got the sucker punch to the head too.
Yep.
There's been a lot of plays, and he's a good player and someone I think everyone would take on their team, but also too, you have to take away the name on the back and the stage of the playoffs and everything and look at it and be like, that's an intent to injure, I would suggest. And so also too, concussion protocol.
I mean, the fact that the concussion,
crazy.
Stolarz got hit in the head twice and they didn't call for him out of the game. Like, it was Stolarz who had to get pulled and he was crazy stuff. I was not surprised the league didn't suspend Sam Bennett, but it's disappointing that this is the kind of play the league doesn't seem to ever take issue with. So we'll see. This is going to be a major thing the rest of the series. He is going to get targeted by someone on the Leafs, and shit's going to boil over, and someone might end up getting hurt at the end of this, and the NHL is going to have no one to look at except themselves. Okay, I'm giving you 60 seconds to explain something you put in What's Trending. You simply wrote, I have new trees.
Not the other one. I have new trees. I planted trees yesterday.
And?
So I planted 4 cedars in my backyard, dug some holes, threw them in there. But now I have tons and tons of clay
it's
in
not
my
good
backyard.
Dirt?
No.
If it was good dirt, I'd take it off your hands. I need some good dirt.
Got to get rid of this clay. So tonight I have to drive out to the family farm, pick up a truck, come back to my house, load this clay into wheelbarrows, throw it on the back of the truck.
That's gonna suck.
It's gonna take me a few days, and then take it to the dump, which closes at 7 in Sherwood Park. So I'm going to be very tired. I'm probably going to get one load out and then come back, watch the game.
All right.
Then maybe between the missions, just go load it up again.
Yeah, like stress digging.
Yeah, I might have to. Instead of bananas tonight, I'll be literally digging holes.
All right.
I'll send you a picture, Aaron.
Good. Probably good.
No, we'll show it later.
Okay, we'll show it later. Let's get out to, we got serious business to take care of today on the show. Let's go to the Star Mechanical Guest Line, Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. They are one of Edmonton's biggest locally owned and operated plumbing and heating businesses, and they've been in the community for more than 20 years. That's how you know they can trust them. They don't have expensive rates. They focus on being as cost conscious as possible for you, the customer. They also offer 24/7 emergency services. For more information, go to starmechanical.ca as we welcome in our friend. It's his second time on the show. We can say friend now, Steve Peters. Steve, how you doing?
I'm doing really well, and thanks for having me on again today. I always have to say this when I talk to somebody in Edmonton. How is the weather today in Edmonton? If you're planting trees, it must be half decent.
It is beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Blue skies all around us here.
I can click Fahrenheit.
19 degrees?
66 degrees Fahrenheit and not a cloud in the sky. Can't beat it.
Wow. Beautiful city. Beautiful city when it's sunny out. Love it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful city this time of year, and it's always nice when the Oilers are still playing and the sun is out like this. They begin round 2 against the Vegas Golden Knights tonight, and I'm very intrigued for your take on this series. So before we look ahead to Vegas, let's look back at LA, because I believe we talked to you when it was 2-0, and you were someone who kind of said, like, hey, as this series goes on, it might start to favor the Oilers. What impressed you the most about the Oilers' 4 straight wins?
The biggest thing with the Oilers right now is their ability to play with depth. And one thing that's always been a knock on the Edmonton Oilers has been they're rolling out the Draisaitl, McDavid all the time when they're in trouble, when things are good. It's 97-29. What carried Edmonton through the later games in this LA Kings series were the guys in the bottom 6 of the lineup. And I think that was a huge step forward for this Edmonton Oilers team. It became a different team. You could rely on different players. Trent Frederick making big plays, Connor Brown making big plays, Janmark, Henrique. There were guys that you don't traditionally hear of, really good players, but they were the guys that were making the difference in these games. And to me, that's, if you're going to win a cup, and we said this last time I was on, if you are going to win a cup, you can't do it with 3 lines. LA tried it, and you clearly saw as this series wore on, their 3-line plan just didn't work. And the Oilers, unfortunately, at times over the last 5-6 years, it has been not just a 3-line team, it's been a 2-guy team. And that's difficult. So this was a huge step forward for these Edmonton Oilers, that they have more weapons and they have a deeper lineup, and they're going to need it. This series isn't the LA Kings as they're heading down to Vegas for game 1.
What do you see as the biggest difference between what the Golden Knights are and the LA Kings are?
It's funny because I don't think we've seen the best of the Vegas Golden Knights yet in this playoffs. I don't think they were exceptionally good versus Minnesota. I think they struggled with defending the top players of the Minnesota Wild when you talk about Kaprizov and Boldy, and that bodes well for Edmonton because Edmonton's top 2 players are much better. No knock on Kaprizov, great player. Really, really good player. And Boldy's a young player coming into his own, but Edmonton's top 2 are better than those top 2. And if you saw how well Kaprizov and Boldy were able to handle the Vegas Golden Knights, if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan, that's favorable. There are differences. Vegas is deeper. Vegas has 4 lines, and they have 4 lines that can not just score, but they have 4 lines that can defend. You wonder about their back end. Vegas's Golden Knight, their 6 defensemen are as good as any team in the NHL playoffs right now. I like their 6, maybe not as fleet of foot, but experienced, smart, high IQ, experienced defenseman. And I think that is a notch that Vegas is going to be better than what you saw from LA Kings. I think you saw Drew Doughty at times struggle with the speed of the game against the Oilers. I'm not sure that's going to be the case against Vegas. So I think the other side of Vegas is I don't think you've seen the best of their offense yet. This is a team that really struggled in the first round to put numbers on the board. They were 12th so far of the 16 teams in the first round. In the regular season, they were 5th in goals for in the National Hockey. This is the team that can put up numbers. They just didn't do that. And so I think you're going to look for a Vegas Golden Knight team that needs to get Jack Eichel going. Like he's got 1 goal in the first round. He is going to have to be one of the keys to this series for the Vegas Golden Knights.
So sorry, quickly, just on Eichel, obviously he didn't have a great first round.
I think through 4 games, he didn't have a 5-on-5 winner, only had 1.
Like Do you know what the Wild did so well to prevent him from kind of going out there and performing so well?
It's funny because we actually did a study on that over at ESPN. We looked at why wasn't he getting offense? And I tell you what, the Minnesota Wild limited his time and space from inside the offensive blue line every time he stepped over the blue line, and they did it with their best players. You're looking at Brock Faber, Jared Spurgeon. They did not allow Eichel to be more than a stick length away from them at any one time, and it really closed him up and really frustrated him. He couldn't get any room through the neutral zone, and he was frustrated. It's hard to defend one player like that all the time. It's really hard because you leave holes in behind you. But Minnesota was able to defend well. Minnesota's a good defending team. When they're healthy and they have all their defense there, Minnesota can defend well. I think Edmonton is going to have to do the same. You're going to have to keep Eichel off the board. To me, this is Eichel versus McDavid. It's number 1 versus number 2 in the draft. Eichel's got a chip on his shoulder, something to prove. I think this is a key matchup. And I do think Eichel is going to have to provide more offense if Vegas is going to find a way to beat the Edmonton Oilers in round 2.
And again, to circle back to maybe the first point you brought up, like what makes this Oilers team just more unique than ones in the past is they can load up Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. If Vegas wants to go power on power, they can do the Eichel versus their top line and the Oilers bottom 9, which is such a funny thing to kind of say, but it's true. They can survive. Like I keep saying the stat of the last time the Oilers played the Golden Knights 2 years ago, they got 11 goals from McDavid and Draisaitl. They got another 3 on the power play from Bouchard and Hyman. The rest of their roster only had 5 goals in that 6-game series. Like the Golden Knights blue line is very, very good, but I still feel like the big separator here from Oilers teams of old is just that bottom 9 of the team. And when I look at it on paper, especially with no Dorofeyev for Vegas, Edmonton's forward group has a chance to make a difference here.
Yeah, and I agree because I've said this story before. When I worked in the coaching room of the Arizona Coyotes and we went in to play a much superior Edmonton Oilers team, Dave Tippett's mantra at the time for Arizona, not for Edmonton, but his mantra was come out even or better against Draisaitl and McDavid. That was the mission. If you can come out even or better when those two are on the ice, you're fine. And that means if it's 0-0, you're fine. That was a great shift if you can keep them off the board. Unfortunately, that's not the case anymore. And you can't just beat McDavid and Draisaitl and go, okay, we used to say if we could keep Connor McDavid from scoring a goal in this game, we have a better chance to win, period. That was the mission. That was McDavid was point 1, 2, and 3 on the board. That's not anymore. And you saw that in the last 2 games of the series against LA when those guys aren't the guys driving the offense and somebody else does it. That's the concern for Vegas. One thing Vegas does do, though, is Vegas is going to be a little more physical than I think you saw in LA. I think they're going to come out really hard, especially against the defense of the Edmonton Oilers early. I'm expecting a dump and chase, hard physical game on those Edmonton Oilers defense early in game 1 to kind of set the tone for this series. And that makes up what Edmonton may have an issue with, is their ability to defend. When you look at the numbers in the first round and their ability to defend, it's a problem. They were 15th in goals against per game, and they were last on the penalty kill. The 2 big defensive metrics for a team going into the second round. It's a problem. And if they get beat up and pressured without Ekholm, it can be a problem. They were good. They were good at times. But they're going to face a different kind of pressure that's more relentless and more shift after shift and 1, 2, 3, 4 lines coming at them. That could be the area where Edmonton's going to have to do better, and they're going to have to move the puck quicker and cleaner to get out of their zone.
Steve Peters, we had him on last or a couple weeks ago. If people missed that one, former video coach for the Arizona Coyotes, worked with Team North America back in 2016, now works with ESPN as a telestration producer. And if you want to find his YouTube, great breakdowns there. We just threw the link in our chat so everyone can go subscribe to Steve's YouTube. Let's talk about goaltending, because that's always a big conversation with the Edmonton Oilers. And Adin Hill had a little bit of an up and down first round for the Vegas Golden Knights, but for Pickard specifically and the Oilers, they're going back to him for game 1. I feel like they need to. How much should the Oilers trust Calvin Pickard? Like, if he has a bad game 1, should the leash be short? Do you think he's earned more than that? What's your viewpoint on Pickard heading into this series?
This is hard. And goaltenders win you series and they win you Stanley Cups. And I've said this all along. You can win a Stanley Cup with average goaltending. And I've said that Antoniemi in Chicago, even Darcy Kemper with the Colorado Avalanche was good in that series. He was better as an LA King goaltender this year against Edmonton. He was just okay. You didn't need to make those 5-alarm bell saves. But if you're traditionally going to win the Stanley Cup, your goaltending has to be solid, especially if your team isn't a powerhouse, like the 2000s Colorado Avalanche. This is going to be a concern for Edmonton. Pickard's been good. He's got 4 wins, but when you look at the numbers and you look in a little deeper, it's 3+ goals in 3 of his 4 games. His save percentage is .893. LA is 14th in the NHL in scoring. during the regular season. Vegas is 5th. Vegas has more offensive power. They're going to get to the net harder. They're going to get to the blue paint harder. I think Pickard has done exactly what Edmonton needed him to do. He came in and bailed the team out when Skinner was not playing well. Skinner didn't play well a year ago early. We talked about it right on this show going into game 3, and we were wondering who are they going to start. Well, they started Pickard. And now you're in that conundrum now. You have to start Pickard, period. End of story. And you will ride him until he loses. But when he loses, I just feel, and maybe this is wrong, I feel that if Edmonton is going to have a long run, and that's getting into the Western Finals and potentially to the Stanley Cup Finals, they're going to have to do it with Skinner. And I say that because I think Skinner gives the team a little bit more belief long term. I think he's a guy that's been there before. And when Skinner's on his game and playing at his best, he's really tough to beat. And you saw it against Florida last year. When he's bad, he's bad. And unfortunately, they saw the bad Skinner early. I like Calvin Pickard. Calvin Pickard was an Arizona Coyote. He's an amazing teammate. He's an amazing guy to have in the room. He is always positive, and everybody loves playing for him. You've seen how hard Edmonton plays in front of Calvin Pickard. They do. I just don't know if Edmonton wants to get to the promised land and raise the cup, if they're going to be able to do it on the back of Calvin Pickard. I do believe at some point Skinner is going to get the net again for the Edmonton Oilers.
I feel like you're reading my mind a little bit, because my next question for you is going to be, like, you've been in pro locker rooms before and you watch the way the Oilers play in front of Calvin Pickard, and even little things like there was a point in March where Draisaitl, after a win against the Islanders, was just like gushing with praise for how much they love playing for Calvin Pickard. And you saw McDavid after the OT winner dart right down to Calvin Pickard to give him a hug. Is there anything to the idea of teams play differently or harder in front of certain goalies, or is that just something we maybe make up and make to be too big of a deal?
100% reality. Absolutely, for sure it happens. And you're going to see it's those backups, or you call them 1B, whatever you want to call them, that the guys really like. That is a guy that goes and puts in the extra time when practice is done and he stays out to work one-on-one with other guys. He's the guy that's positive. He's upbeat. He's always happy. And you absolutely bet they play harder for that guy. And maybe should or shouldn't. But there are guys, hard to believe if you've heard this too, there are guys in NHL locker rooms that other players don't like. And they don't always like your teammates. It's a thing. And yes, there have been situations where the goalie, you look at him and you go, I'm not your best friend. But those are the guys that compete and can win. I've heard stories about Tom Barrasso as a teammate that maybe not the best teammate of the Pittsburgh Penguins, but you know what? They loved him because he competed and he won. But I do think there is something for blocking a shot. Hey, we're going to do this for Cal. We're going to get in front of the shot. I'm going to block this because he's the kind of guy that would do something for me. Absolutely makes a difference. And I think they played different. And part of it, too, was a wake-up call that they didn't perform well in front of Skinner, that they left him out to dry at times in the first couple of games. And I do think that's, hey, look what we did to Stu. We can't do this to Calvin Pickard. We've got to up our game. And I do think they've played better with him. I just don't know if they can do it for 12 more wins. That's a lot of wins you got to rack up under a guy that just traditionally hasn't put together a string this long and this good against really good competition for this long a period of time.
And you even look back to your point last year with the Oilers, and you talked about Skinner. As much as the lows are so low, do they get past Dallas without how he performs in Game 6 of that series? And I know the empty netters made Game 6 of the Cup final look different, but like, do they even get past Florida in Game 6 of that series? Like, man, there were some moments. Game 7 against Vancouver, like Stuart Skinner had some really, really impressive wins under his resume. And I agree with you that eventually I think they need to go back to him. The question will be, like, if you lose tonight 4-3, is that enough to push it over the edge? And like how that coaching room feels, like where they draw that line, is fascinating. Personally, hoping we don't find out that answer. Hoping the Oilers just win a whole bunch of games and Calvin Pickard's 8-0. But again, that's probably not based in reality.
Yeah, but those are where those conversations go inside the coach's room. And that's where playoffs become so interesting, because every coaching decision, and we're talking the line matchups, how we're going to, we spend more time talking about the bottom 6 than you do the top 6. That fourth line winger, you debate, should this guy be in the lineup? Should that guy be in the lineup? You could spend hours on that because you already know who your top line guys are. But the goaltending discussion tonight and through this series is going to be big for Edmonton. And you're right. If this is 4-3 or 3-2 and they come on the losing side in Vegas, by the way, for Edmonton Oilers fans, if they lose Game 1, it's okay. I think you learned that from previous experience. This is okay. They're playing in Vegas. Like, this first game is going to be a stunner because this is tough. It's tough building in the league to play in, the loud, all those things. So it's going to be okay if you lose with first game. Don't panic. But for the coaching staff, the second the game is over, that is the first question on everybody's mind. And I don't know how the Oilers room works and how much weight the goalie coach's decision has in the final say. It's always the head coach, period. The head coach makes it, but there are some goalie coaches in the National Hockey League that have a lot of pull on what they see and what they feel in practices, what they've seen leading up to that game on making that kind of decision. This is a decision after game one. If Pickard wins, he's going. He will go until he loses. Period. End of story. If he doesn't lose and they raise the cup and he's won 16-year-old, he will be the Conn Smythe winner. I'll put that early right now. If they win with Calvin Pickard, he's Conn Smythe. But there will be a decision if they lose, and it will be how has Stuart Skinner presented himself in practice? How has his attitude been on the ice, on the bench? How has his attitude been in team meetings? Has he been attentive? Has he been on time? And I know those sound so petty. And they sound like such a small detail, but has he been engaged with his teammates? Has he been involved in the game? He's been, and I don't necessarily mean a cheerleader on the bench, but has he been engaged in the games where Pickard has been playing? How has his support been of his teammate? All of those things are going to matter and weigh into that decision on who is the next goaltender in game two. Absolutely. And I still think if they lose 4-3, 3-2, 5-1, I think Skinner's back in.
Yeah, I could totally see that. Just quickly, outside of this Edmonton-Vegas series, from a matchup perspective, which one of the other three series in the NHL has your attention the most?
This is hard because the Florida Panthers, I said nobody can compete against the Florida Panthers. And here I go, game one, and Toronto looked very good. I'll give this. Florida didn't look like Florida last night until the third period. So I still believe that. I don't know what Winnipeg's going to look like. Dallas, Colorado to me was the Western Conference equivalent of a Western Championship. That was an elite competition between those two teams. Now Dallas has to, do they let off the gas a little bit looking at Winnipeg and knowing a Winnipeg team that struggled? Does Connor Hellebuck finally get that first series blues off of his back and go, okay, now I'm going to play like a Vezina Trophy winner again? I think that series is incredibly interesting. The one that's kind of a sleeper, and I hate to say this to hockey fans because everybody loves Alexander Ovechkin, the Washington Carolina series just doesn't do a lot for me. I know I'll watch it, but the other three series to me are so much better. And Carolina is going to come out and play the exact same way they played every year, do the same thing over and over and again, and either they win or they lose. And that's the way that series goes. Can Ovechkin carry his team past that smothering style of the Carolina Hurricanes? But the rest of this series, I think there's more storylines. I think there's more personal matchups. I think there's more one-on-one high-end talent battles. I think this is going to be a phenomenal second round of the NHL playoffs.
All right. Forgetting the fact that you're on an Oilers Nation podcast / live show right now, using your research, your gut, everything you know about these two teams, what's your prediction?
Here's something I've learned, and this happened to me last year in the playoffs. I bet, and sorry, Oiler Nation fans, I bet against the Edmonton Oilers in every single round last year. I said, well, they can't beat this team. They beat that team, but they won't beat this team. They get through the Dallas Stars. Well, Dallas was injured and banged up. Otcher wasn't very good. Florida's going to roll them. They took them 7 games. Edmonton's a team because of, I know Draisaitl's a great player, but because of the spirit and will of 97 and his ability to pull guys into the mud and compete, that team is different. They just are. And you can never count them out. I still think they've got a really, really tough test because they play Vegas on the road. If this series started off in Edmonton and Edmonton was playing on home ice, I think that would give them advantage. I think we haven't seen the best of the Vegas Golden Knights. I think this is a team that when they find their offense, they're going to be good. Adin Hill's the goalie I said before, where he just has to be okay. I think Adin Hill just has to be okay in this series. I do think it's going long. I think it's going 7. And when you go 7 games, anybody can win. But unfortunately, Oilers fans, I do have Vegas in 7. Sorry.
Okay, so I'm going to re-ask you the question and say, remembering you're on
I know,
Oilers.
after the Oilers roll this thing in 5, then they can have me back on. And the funny thing is, Tyler, when you talk about this year's playoffs, and again, when you do the research and you watch the games, and I watch a lot of hockey, and I picked in the Stanley Cup Finals, and I'll admit it here that I failed. I had the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Colorado Avalanche. And they both got bounced in the first one. I looked at how they were playing going in, how their goaltenders were playing, how Colorado shored up their middle of the ice. I thought they made great moves at the deadline. I thought Tampa was rolling. Kucherov was hot. Vasilevsky is the second best goalie in the league. And they're both golfing. And that's what this year's playoffs is like. Winnipeg can win the Stanley Cup. I think any team remaining right now can win the Stanley Cup. I believe that. I think there's all the 8 of these teams can win the Stanley Cup. That's how good this batch of teams are. So Edmonton might take the 7. They might win in 5. And continues to roll, and they can get solid goaltending. So I do think the parity this year is different than what we've seen in years past, where you go, oh, this team's better, and they're going to make it to the finals. I think this year is different.
Find him on Twitter at @SPetersHockey. Find him on YouTube, Inside the Coach's Room. Again, the link is in our episode description today. Steve, thank you so much for doing this. This is honestly becoming one of our favorite segments, so really appreciate it.
I can't believe you guys have me on. I appreciate it. This is so much fun. I just love talking about hockey, and I hope we're talking again in a week to 10 days about round 3.
All right. I love it. Thanks, Steve. Have a good one. Enjoy the round.
Thanks.
There you go. Steve Peters joining us, as he has a couple of times now on the show. Great stuff. Great stuff. I don't know. I keep going, and I'm confident, and then I get nervous because I think, like, man, like, you look at this Golden Knights blue line on paper, and you know what? Let's do that. Let's well, actually, before we move off of that, Steve Peters was also brought to you by our friends over at Budweiser. Budweiser has been brewed in Edmonton for 45 years, and by partnering with Mark Messier, a proud Edmontonian, on this limited edition can, which you see all the time up in our studio back at the offices. They're on brand to reignite that City of Champions mentality that Edmonton is known for. Find one of those specially made cans now in the Edmonton area. It's got Edmonton written in that Budweiser script. It is a beautiful can, an ode to the City of Champions mentality that this city has embodied for so long. Shout out to Budweiser. Shout out to you, Edmonton. Shout out to Steve Peters as well. Let's also let's do a little quick lineup report here, Liam. Tonight for the Oilers, they are sticking with the same lineup that won them all those games against the Los Angeles Kings. The forward group is McDavid-Draisaitl, Perry. The second line, Nuge, Kane, Hyman, Henrique with Frederick and Brown. That line right there, circle them, put it in bold. That's an X factor for me.
Yeah, I would agree. I think they can make a difference in this series too. This forward group has just done really well recently. Everyone just seems to be clicking with each other and finding a bit of a rhythm. Hopefully they can just get it earlier in the series than they did the last time around.
Yeah, totally. Fourth line, Janmark, Podkolzin, and Arvidsson. The blue line for the Oilers, Nurse, Bouchard, Wallman, Klingberg, Kulak, Emberson. Not even worth saying pairings because everybody's going to play with everybody in this series. For the Vegas Golden Knights now, the forward group, Eichel, Carlson, Stone, Hurdle with Brandon Saad and Keegan Colasart, Nicholas Waugh, Roy, however you want to say it, with Ivan Barbashev and Riley Smith, Brett Howden with Tanner Pearson and Victor Olofsson. If you are not someone who watches a lot of hockey outside of Edmonton, you might be saying, Tyler, how big of a deal is it that they're missing Pavel Dorofeyev? This guy knows how to score. 35 goals on the season, 22 of them coming at even strength. 7 of them being game winners as well. Pavel Dorofeyev is one of the more underrated players in the entire NHL, and Vegas not having him. I mean, look at this forward group, right? Like if you could slot Dorofeyev where Kolasar is, and then Kolasar's on your fourth line, maybe instead of like a Pearson, that forward group looks so much more dynamic. With Dorofeyev leaves a big hole there, and I think this is a series where, as Steve said it, if Adin Hill is average, then, if Adin Hill is above average, then I'm not sure how much of a shot the Edmonton Oilers have here. If Adin Hill is going to be just average, I'll maybe disagree with Steve a little bit.
Yeah.
If Adin Hill is just average, that means the Oilers are probably scoring 4 goals a game because it's a high-end offense against an average goalie. To me, in my simple brain, that equals 4 goals. I don't know if this lineup without Dorofeyev is capable of scoring 4 goals more often than not against the Oilers.
I would agree. And Dorofeyev, he's not just an unknown. He's not underappreciated. He's mostly unknown. Like, a lot of people probably aren't too familiar with him. He only scored 15 goals last season. I think that the Oilers really need to take advantage of the fact he's out of the lineup. And apparently Pietrangelo is also fighting through a little bit of something as well. Like, obviously Ekholm is out for Edmonton, but relatively, like, this lineup looks to be healthy. So these first 2 games for me, if Dorofeyev can't play both of them, or at least tonight, you need to take advantage of the fact he's not in the lineup. Because when he comes back, he will have an impact on this series.
Blue line, Hague with Pietrangelo, McNabb with Theodore, Hannafin with White Cloud. Before I get to my my one big take here, there was something. The guys over on Sinbin Vegas, Ken Bolke and them, he kind of made it sound like when he was on with Gregor the other day that he'd be surprised if Dorofeyev played.
Really?
That would be a series changer. Absolute series changer if it ends up coming true.
Who did the Oilers play the other year and someone didn't make an appearance?
Kevin Fiala. He missed that. Basically, I think that whole
Fiala
series.
missed that series. Demko, obviously.
Remember
last
Besser,
season
Game
playoff.
7, never
Yeah,
returned.
Besser. That was a really bad injury.
Yeah.
Blood clots.
Yeah,
Correct,
it was
right?
super scary.
Yeah, that sucks for him.
One more on the lineup. Kevin Woodley was on with Jason Gregor, and we really like Kevin Woodley's work. Aaron, if we have the clip, you can just play it now.
Yes.
Where are the areas of weakness and how you should attack Adin Hill?
You kind of got to go after the glove. When I did the charting, high glove during the regular season was 24 goals, high blocker 15, but save percentage on the high glove was 768. Expected goal differential there was significantly below expected. So open looks and lateral plays, that's where you go. The other thing is, I think the other direction in terms of looking for rebounds, there were 21 goals where rebounds were the primary factor on Adin Hill, which is out of the last 100 goals. So we just chart 100 goals to sort of give us a taste of, it gives you a percentage as well. And so 21 of the 100, so 21%, which is almost double the average around the league, scored off rebounds and predominantly on the blocker side. Getting him moving, whether that's attacking down low, bottom of the circles, or as you mentioned, even from below the goal line, like walkouts. And that was a significant way that teams scored against him this year.
There you go. Maybe a little lesson on how to beat Adin Hill from the goalie genius himself, Kevin Woodley. The Jason Gregor Show, 2 to 6 p.m. every weekday right here on the Oilers Nation YouTube, or find them on your AM dial, Sports 1440. I want to get to one big take on these two lineups. It's brought to you by RV Easy. Most RVs sit parked in the driveway. With RV Easy, you can rent out your motorhome or travel trailer and earn over $20,000 this year. Founded, owned, and operated by Canadians, RV Easy takes care of everything, including full insurance coverage for every rental. Choose when to rent, set your own pricing, and list your RV today at RVEasy.com. That's RVEZY.com. RV Easy. Rent your RV. Make money easy. I'm going to break this down in a very simple way, Liam.
Okay.
You look at that Golden Knights blue line. Hag, Pietrangelo, McNabb, Theodore, Hanifin, Whitecloud, and it's like, holy shit. Those are 8 top 4 defensemen. A lot of them are top pairing defensemen. Some of them are elite defensemen. And it's like, wow, that is loaded on paper. In round 1 against Minnesota, they were inconsistent.
Yeah.
They had some really tough moments. They bled some big chances. They struggled with the high-end skill of Kaprizov and Boldy. Then you go look at the Oilers, and you look at that forward group, and you're like, good Lord, 3 Hart Trophy winners on your top line, and Draisaitl, McDavid, and Perry, a second line that is really humming. Of all the lines in round 1, trios of 3 players that qualified in terms of ice time, no line had a higher expected goals for percentage than Nuge, Kane, and Hyman. You look at a third line. Frederick keeps getting better. Connor Brown has found his stride, playing the best hockey of his NHL career. Adam Henrique, perennial 20-goal guy down the middle. He struggles with consistency issues. So does Brown. Trent Frederick, we're hoping he's healthier. The fourth line, Arvidsson and Podkolzin on the wings with playoff performer Janmark down the middle. When you look at the forward group for Edmonton and you look at the blue line for Vegas, it is like jaw-dropping the gluttony of quality players they have. That forward group is so good. That blue line in Vegas is so good, but yet each of them have struggled with consistency problems. If Edmonton's forward group can find a way to elevate a little bit, they're winning this series in 6. If Vegas's blue line finds a way to elevate a little bit, I hate to say it, they're probably winning this series in 6. If both units play above what we think they can do, this series is going 7. And that is my way too simple breakdown of this matchup.
Yeah, just if they can just take advantage of their strengths, I guess is a good way to put it, isn't it? But the Oilers forward group in that game 6, sorry, like it wasn't McDavid and Draisaitl that did it. It was Connor Brown.
Yeah.
Like someone joked in the chat before, it's like they can contain Connor McDavid all they want. They have Connor Brown as well to go take care of things. And I really do think the depth is going to be the big difference for the Oilers if they're going to be able to get through and make it to the Western Conference Finals again. It's going to be about what does that third line do? And even that second line, like you said, like there's a reason McDavid and Draisaitl can stay together, and it's not because everyone else is struggling, it's because everyone else is playing so well. So for me, it's about taking advantage of that early. Adin Hill's a good player, don't get me wrong, but also too, I don't think he's that great.
No.
He has an 880. We're sitting here talking about our goaltender that has an 893, which also isn't fantastic by any means, but Adin Hill, we've seen what he can do in a series, but I think Pickard can do just as much.
I agree with that. All right, we got a handful of things we need to get to before the end of the show, including the menu, which is powered by the Ninja Crispy 4-in-1 portable glass air fryer.
Meet the Ninja Crispy portable cooking system, the power of a full-sized air fryer in the palm of your hand.
It is an all-in-one system that includes 4-quart, 6-cup Tupperware glass containers and 2 storage lids. It is thermal shock resistant and can go from frozen to crispy in minutes. With the Crispy Power Pod, you get the power of a full-sized air fryer in the palm of your hands. The 4-quart container fits 4 pounds of chicken or veggies, and you can cook a personal-sized meal in 7 minutes in the 6-cup container. Prep, cook, and store anything from crispy favorites to one-dish meals. Visit their website with the link in our description, and stay tuned because one of you in the chat will win a Ninja Crispy just by watching this show. Unbelievable stuff tonight. It is a doubleheader in the Stanley Cup Playoffs. 5 o'clock, Carolina, Washington. We laughed about it with Steve. Do you care?
No.
Yeah. This is one you throw on while you're shoveling clay.
Yeah, put it on while you're shoveling clay and then never look at it again.
Yeah, I also think this series is going to have one game that is like a triple OT one.
Mm-hmm. And I won't watch.
Like the 2 best goalies by goals. Also, here's the picture of your clay.
Yeah, that's my clay.
That's a lot of clay, big guy.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of work. Look at those trees.
These are Freddie Anderson, Logan Thompson, the 2 goalies who are starting tonight, are 1 and 2 in goals saved above expected through the first round of the playoffs. It's the 2 best goalies. It's 2 forward groups that I like but don't love. It's 2 blue lines that are pretty good. This series, I think, is going to be low scoring with some drawn-out overtime games. The exciting one tonight, I think the entire hockey world is more excited for Edmonton and Vegas. Aaron's going live, pre-gaming with Boardsy, 6:30 right here on the Oilers Nation YouTubes. Once you're done watching Gregor, have a quick bite to eat, tune into pregame with Boardsy, or come on down to Greta because the game day specials are on. It's half-price chicken wings. It's a deal on Bud and Bud Light, and the pitchers of beer are on special as well. Plus, some extra little treats throughout the evening as well, as our friends at Greta are always known to do. So, yeah, there you go. That's what's on the menu tonight.
There you go.
Enjoy some hockey, then come to Greta. Shout out to our friends at the Ninja Crispy for the menu for this evening. That brings us to our keys to victory, Liam, for Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. Can we see it? Oh, no, the shades are down. So we can't quite see Sherwood Power Sports and Marine, but it's right up the road from us here at Sherwood Ford the Giant, right in the heart of Sherwood Park. Motorcycle season just around the corner. Lake season just around the corner. Get your boat, get your bike tuned up with the fantastic service department at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. They also offer door-to-door service. They'll pick it up, drive it in, work on it, drive it right back to you. Hockey fans helping hockey fans right in the heart of Sherwood Park. Your key to victory tonight.
Key to victory tonight is the depth.
Yep.
We need some goals from that bottom 6 to allow the top 6 to thrive like they've been able to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Oilers need to really just take advantage of Dorofeyev being out. And I think doing that is trying to just, this very simple comment coming up, score as many goals as you can.
Yeah, that would help.
Yeah.
That would help.
And I don't think Vegas, with him out, is going to be able to max out.
My key to victory is going to be Calvin Pickard. Again, not that you want guys to be feeling pressure. You want guys to be feeling loose. But Calvin Pickard, it's game 1 of this series. Steal one.
Yeah.
Cement yourself a little bit here. There's still question marks about you, Cal. There's still people who are doubting you. There's still people who want to see this team go back to Stuart Skinner, or like me, are saying at some point in this run, you're going to need Stuart Skinner again. If Calvin Pickard goes out tonight and plays unbelievable and steals a game for the Edmonton Oilers, again, not that they necessarily need it, but if that is how this plays out, the tone around goaltending for this entire series shifts. If you steal this one, you can give up 9 goals in game 2. You are my starter in game 3. You are my starter in game 4. Calvin Pickard, cement yourself as this team's goaltender tonight.
Yeah, like kind of just, I don't think he cares, to be honest, but silence the doubters a little bit. I believe in Stu. I believe in Cal. I think both of them are capable of winning games for the Oilers if the team actually plays well in front of them and helps them out. They're not going to be goalies that stand there and stop all these one-on-one attempts, but they can do it a couple times a game, and I think Pickard, prove it's the right decision to go with. Wait a minute.
Nope, Skinner's not starting tonight, Liam. Fact check.
I thought it was reported.
No. All right, before we move along, I think we got some game notes from our friends at Sherwood Ford the Giant.
Live in studio?
Huh? Do we have game notes?
In the last 2 seasons, the Edmonton Oilers are 4-3 against the Vegas Golden Knights.
The last time the Oilers and Vegas met in the playoffs, Connor McDavid and Draisaitl combined for 11 goals in 6 games. Let's go Oilers!
Calvin Pickard gets the start tonight. Now, he is the only undefeated goalie left in the playoffs and has a goals against average of .293. Let's go Oilers!
Let's go Oilers, indeed.
Not paid actors.
No, my truck is ready to be picked up. It's somewhere out there. They came and gave me the keys. I'm very excited to have my truck back.
Right next to mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I parked up
there
next
you
to
go. Shout out to Sherwood Ford the Giant and the Nation Valet Service. They came and picked up my vehicle the other day from my house, Yesterday,
Damn.
9 a.m., they drove up. I tossed them the keys, barely even opened the door. They drove it in.
Took
They
the guy's eye out.
did all the work that needed to be done. And look at that. Already today at noon, 1 o'clock, it's ready to be picked up again. Shout out to Sherwood Ford the Giant. Game Day Betting Challenge is brought to you by our friends at Bet365. Download the app and use the code NATION. Bet365 is an official partner of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. From game lines, player props, totals, money line. You can even bet on futures like series winners and, of course, the Stanley Cup champion. Whatever you bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app. Get in on the game. Must be 19 or older. Liam.
Tyler.
We have a problem.
Yep, we sure do. We've been put into a bit of a hole.
Jay is starting to cash bets. His 14-1 Oilers money line Trent Frederick bet has won, which means, knowing what we know about Jay, he is going to just take little base hits. Just little base hits the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And knowing his pick for today, I think his strategy is just going to be Oilers money line the entire way, knowing that if the Oilers just keep winning, it'll be impossible for us to catch them. So now we're in a spot where we got to start chasing some juice. So on that note, here's what we got tonight. I like Draisaitl 3+ shots, has done it in 3 of his last 4 games. I like Eichel 3+ shots, did it in the final 4 games of that series against the Minnesota Wild. You set both those at 3, take the over at 5.5. Oilers win this hockey game 4-2. Bing, bang, bong, plus 240. What do you know?
I know they're winning 6-0, but this is what I have. Okay, let me read it. I kind of threw this together. Bouchard 3 shots, Kane 2 shots, Draisaitl 1 shot at 1 point. Same with McDavid, over 2.5 Oilers goals, plus 350. I actually don't know if any of these are trending. I don't know how many shots Bouchard had last game. This is all from the heart.
All right.
And I need this bad because then I'm going to have to start taking hits. Jay is really...
He's messed up the whole competition now with his success.
Because I don't like to do this. And I just... Well, it's more like... The problem is, like you said, Jay's not going to do anything crazy now. He's just going to go money line, puck lines, whatever he's going to feel. Maybe they'll goal here or there. Even if I did just want to go like, hey, I think Draisaitl's going to get 2 points. These plus 100s aren't going to help me anymore. I'm going to have to do what he did after tonight if this isn't hit. And I'm just going to have to go Oilers win, player on the third line to score.
And try to just hit one? Yeah, I feel you. All right, there you go. That is the betting preview for tonight. Oilers dogs plus 120
woof.
As they begin their series with the Golden Knights. Finally, we'll wrap up the show with some comments. YouTube chat. Oh, Jay says, you two think they're losing.
No, I put goals in there.
No, we have to fade the money line. Yeah. Strategic, Jay. It's strategic. YouTube chat's brought to you by our friends at Odd Company Brewing and the all-new Nation Beer Everyday Lager, a crisp, clean lager that is perfect for game days like today when there's not a cloud in the sky and the sun is shining and you and your boys or your girls are getting together to watch playoff hockey. Why not have a couple of nice, crisp Nation beers, a crisp, clean lager crafted for game day. All right, YouTube chat, we got a couple of keys to victory in there. McDiesel said, limit chances, play tight, and push for goals when necessary. McDiesel also said, just shoot the puck. Isaac says, got to be physical for me. Need the guys to come out strong and fast. None of the slow start crap that we've gotten before. Yeah, I mean, listen, the Oilers are not great at winning game ones. That has been well documented. So that immediately means today is not a must win for the Edmonton Oilers, but it'd be a nice to have. And man, if you win tonight, you all of a sudden have no pressure on yourself heading into game 2. You're playing with, ready for the Vegas joke? You're playing with house money if you can find a way to steal one tonight from the Golden Knights. And again, we learned this against the LA Kings. You cannot look at this series and start to go, okay, if it's 1-1, if you're down, it is game by game. If you have a game by game mindset, this Edmonton Oilers team is capable of absolutely anything. They won 3 straight against the Florida Panthers last year. They won 3 straight against the Dallas Stars last year. They came back from down 3-2 against the Vancouver Canucks, and son of a bitch, they're on a 4-game heater after winning 4 straight against the LA Kings. Game by game with this team. Play every game tight, avoid mistakes, and trust that your game breakers can be game breakers. Trust that your newfound depth can find a way to make an impact. There are so many reasons to like this Oilers team. Don't worry about being on the road. Don't worry about Adin Hill. Don't worry about this Golden Knights blue line. Play mistake-free hockey and just trust that you're going to get the bounce and you're going to win this game.
Trivia question.
All right.
When was the last time the Oilers won a game 1 on the road?
Man, so they didn't have home ice that 2 years ago against LA, but I think they lost game 1 there.
Come on, you can do this.
One game, 1 on the road. Was it in 06?
No.
So it's 2017?
No.
When was
last year we were there.
They won
Dallas.
game 1 in Dallas, then they lost games 2 and 3, and then they
Yes.
stormed back and won.
Yes.
Yes, you're right. I can't believe I missed that.
So I'll take that tonight.
Everyone saying Dallas last year.
Yeah.
My bad. Hand up on me.
That's okay. Yesterday we forgot about Owen Power and Rasmus Dahlin as
And-
first overall picks.
Yeah, we
yeah.
really did. That was
Facts on this show, folks.
But we don't
Facts.
guess. We only say it if it's facts.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, just do that again because, like you said, going into game 2, I remember feeling, and obviously you want to win every game. There's no doubt about it. But you're sitting there, you're like, okay, we've got what we've wanted already. We needed one win on the road. Anything more is just extra. It just takes a little bit of pressure off going into that second game and even into the third game too. So, yeah, a win tonight would go a long, long way for the Oilers.
I forgot Connor McDavid in overtime. Hey,
Overtime winner. Double OT or was it late in the first?
I think it was late in. Oh, it was double OT.
Yeah,
32 seconds into double
There
OT.
you go,
Connor
yeah.
McDavid.
Yeah, dry. Did they score late? Is that what it was?
Yeah,
they scored in the
16:37.
third period.
Second tied it up.
Look at
Skinner-
that. 31 to 33 saves for Stu, 35 to 38 for
He had a
Adin.
really good series against Dallas. Hey.
He was solid. Like that game 3, they were all pretty bad.
Yeah, they were all pretty bad in game
What
3.
did he end up with?
17 on 21, but like they just lit him up in the
Yeah,
second
I
and
don't
third.
think it was very
But
good.
that finale, like he gave up 2 goals in the final 2 games of that series, despite facing 54 shots. Crazy. Tonight,
I
though,
understand the doubt. It's hard not to.
yeah,
Like, you'd be oblivious to it otherwise. But like, he's not been good at moments this season. But I also think history would show that he's been able to kind of turn it around. And Steve was kind of mentioning there too, like what kind of teammate is he? And I do believe he's a good teammate. You see him on the bench, and obviously in the dressing room, there was a clip yesterday as well. So a lot of stuff like that is a positive too. So I think Stu will be ultimately fine if he ever gets called upon. But hopefully, like you kind of said, they can just ride Cal and win 12 more games, and we don't have to worry about it. And then we'll have Jeremy Swayman on the team next year.
Mr. Burns said, Liam news. I need the tea. Are you allowed to say it? Yeah.
Sure, I can say it. So I'm no longer the head scout of the Sherwood Ford Crusaders.
Oh, no. That's so sad. Wait.
Yeah, anything for that? I am now a new scout. I'm not a head scout anymore, unfortunately, which was a great title to have. But I'm now a scout for the Penticton V's in the Western Hockey League. So that's pretty great. So we have a very busy week. We have our expansion draft this week. We have the Bantam draft and the U.S. draft. And yeah, so the past few weeks I've been juggling a lot. But yeah, exciting. It's cool. It's like being part of a draft process is pretty sick. Like we have the 4th overall pick and then obviously a bunch after that. So yeah, get ready. The V's are coming. Go V's go.
Go V's
Crew
go
as well. But.
And again, we'll talk about this more in the coming days, but obviously you taking a job in Penticton means our time together.
Yeah, he's going to continue on Daily Face-Off Live with Tyler and Liam.
Psych. Liam won't go anywhere. If Liam tried to quit, I'd make January 6th look like a fucking pillow fight.
Oh, boy.
That was a very serious day. But congrats.
Thank you.
Penticton V's. You do get to still live in Sherwood Park. You're doing Alberta scouting.
Yeah, I'll be Alberta scout for them. Get to go to Penticton a few times a year, which
That's
would be
not
great.
bad. Bring me with you.
Yeah, you can come along. Go Oilers, go. And so, yeah, it's cool news. Obviously, a very unique experience, too, with them being an expansion team. So it's been a great little project so far. And if you don't know, so I went to Penticton probably about 5-6 weeks ago for a tournament and kind of chat about a few things there. And their rink, if you've never been, is nuts.
Beautiful.
Like, deserves to be in the Western League. Some of the names they have in their Ring of Honor, like Duncan Keith, Andy Moog, Bob Nicholson, Brett Hall. Like it is crazy. It was actually like kind of a surreal moment. So
only one of those guys has a burger named after him.
Yep. Shout out Bob.
All right. Everyone in the chat is saying congrats.
Thank you. It's pretty cool.
Yep.
I've been not been able to tell everyone for a while. I don't even know if I'm allowed to tell you now, but I just did.
Oh, whatever. No one tell the V's that Liam said it.
Phone's ringing.
Liam is no longer working with the Penticton V's.
Oh, Paul Correa. Yeah, Paul Correa.
No.
Am I going to take Gavin McKenna in the expansion draft? Hey, if the Medicine Hat Tigers leave him available, I think we'll pick him up.
All right.
They won't.
That is a wrap on today's edition of the show. Game day. Boardsy live at 6:30. Do you got the jitters yet?
No.
I want them to win so bad. My excitement will be at an all-time high if they win tonight.
I've been able to control myself a little bit until the game starts.
Yeah.
Like I get excited and to talk about it and everything, but I'm a vet now. I've done this, been there, done that.
All right.
It's like what Matt Kachuk said the other day. Is like, second round. I've been under way more pressure.
That's a good point. Maybe I could learn something from old Matt Kachuk. Maybe not. Okay, that's a wrap. Shout out to our boy Steve Peters. He was awesome today. As always, can't wait to have him on again to preview round 3 when the Oilers inevitably get there. Everybody enjoy round 1. If you're going to Greta tonight, have an absolute blast because every night there is a blast. And we'll see you right back here tomorrow, noon Mountain Time. Oil up.